Yeah, you're not the first person to say that, actually. I've
Yeah.
gotten that from a couple of people that saw me last time and saw me this time, that I'm happier, that I'm lighter, and um, more than likely it's just because I was so desperate last time for anyone to give me any type of answer that had built up to the point where it was like screaming for attention, and that's overwhelming and very intense. And since that initial wave has been heard and I continue to work on things, I feel more in control, more closer to who I actually want to be and who I believe I am. In between events, it was awareness and that I wasn't alone. Because Dr. Aziz talks a lot about this lone wolf, but as much as I want a pack and desperately tried to reach for a pack before, and people tried. They tried their hardest, and I tried my hardest. It's different when somebody actually experiences similar or the same thing and is able to work through it with you. So this was probably one of the first times when I reached out and like I let this very important piece of pain come out into the open, where people aren't like, oh, that sounds terrible. But you know, I tried yoga and that really just helps me. So it was heard and it resonated with other people, and that meant that I didn't have to do it all alone. There was actually one time, I don't do a lot on social media in terms of posting because my life is my life. I don't need to share it with other people. That's just my opinion. But I had a really bad weekend and I was stuck in my head about a problem. So I posted on the Facebook group and I'm like, I desperately need help. And I explained my problem. And quite frankly, I expected people there to say, stick with it, you know, I'm sure it's not as bad as that. The typical, I'm giving you as much advice as I can, but, you know, just deal with it. The responses weren't like that. They were useful, they were insightful. People put time and effort into trying to help me with a problem that meant a lot to me. Now, it wasn't 20 responses, but I don't need 20 responses, and I don't want 20 responses. It was like 3 or 4, but they really tried to help me, which was, I reached out because I needed help, and there were hands there. It was incredible. There were a couple of parts that I really enjoyed hearing. The panel with couples was really nice to hear, specifically the questions that were asked. So that was just nice to hear from a real life experience, not just a coaching experience. Like what was it, the apple bag? That I'm like, this is wonderful. And the fact that she just grabbed, actually, did you notice recently? And I was like, oh my God, that's like perfect. So it was really useful to hear the real life examples. And this time, last time the big highlight moment was basically all of Sunday. Like, it was huge for me. This time it was a bit quieter, but it was still pretty intense. And again, it was during the rapid fire Q&A. Took a while to build up to it, but basically I had heard something said that I really didn't agree with, or at least that there was an alternative to the situation that maybe wasn't being considered. So I raised my hand and I brought it up, and that was not easy because we're here looking for advice. Typically you don't say, actually, you forgot a part. So that took a bit of courage, but I'm really glad I said it, and it actually, it brought up several opportunities for improvement that I'm excited, well, okay, not excited, but I feel will be really beneficial to address next. So, yeah. It's worth it. Do it. Like, you got to try, and it's kind of just my life in general. Like science, it doesn't go right all the time. In fact, it usually goes wrong. But if you don't keep trying, you're never going to find the one that goes right. In addition, you can't keep trying the same thing. You have to try the same thing occasionally. Like it's this ridiculously complicated mess where you got to try, but you got to change, but you can't change too quickly. And everybody knows that life is messy. But in this case, just go. It's worth it. Just go for it.